All right, so thank you so much for introducing me. So my name is Tomi, and I'm the Chief Innovation Officer at Softcom. And typically what that means is I get to lead research at Softcom and also lead the engineering team at Softcom. So what I wanted to do quickly before I went into the presentation was to give just someone in the audience money, send money to someone in the audience. So I hope Ibinye can come in and join me as we go ahead and do this. So Ibinye, we're waiting for her to come in. She's the product manager of the products we're going to be demonstrating shortly. Okay, that's Ibinye. So, and this is the moment I get to pick who would do this, who would send the money to.
Who needs money right now? Which faces do you like?
Well, I was, to be honest, tilted towards you though, but I think.
Hey, don't change your mind.
So because of the kind of questions you asked and how critical you are, I felt maybe it should be you to give the money to. Yeah, so all we need is just your phone number though. Yeah, and that's Ibinye there. She's, like I said, she's the product manager, so she could. So what she's doing right now is just getting his phone number, and then she'll go ahead and do a transfer to him.
Don't miss a digit.
Yeah.
Have you received it?
Yes.
Fantastic.
All right. Okay, so you know what? So what we've done is this. Everybody in the room is, because I think you registered with your mobile numbers. We're all right now going to send money to everybody in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean now. So I mean, very soon, shortly, everybody should just check their phones, and you should get SMS credit alerts on all your phones saying you. Yeah, that's a good, that's a good question. All right, cool. So before I go into talking about exactly what this is, I wanted to spend some time explaining the why and how we came about this. We weren't just trying to build another fintech product just because right now, if you sort of look at it, it's like fintech is the thing right now. And there's good reason for that, but that's not why we did this. We're very deliberate in what we were trying to achieve as to how we came about this. So it started sometime towards the end of last year, where part of what we do at Softcom is we spend a lot of time thinking about what are those challenges that exist, what are those problems that exist, and how can we fix these problems. And one of the problems we saw was it was very, very difficult for entities and for individuals to sort of exchange value within themselves. And when we say value, we meant money, especially when we look at Nigeria as an example. It was still very cumbersome. And we studied, to be honest, everybody has done this. We looked at M-Pesa in Kenya. And to be honest, we were like, this works so well in Kenya. And many people have tried to replicate M-Pesa in Nigeria, but has sort of failed. Or, that's not the right word. They haven't failed, but it just hasn't hit mainstream as it is in Kenya. And we started looking at this to try to understand why is this the case. And around the same time with looking at M-Pesa, something interesting also happened. I mean, WhatsApp is old, but we discovered something about WhatsApp. Now, this is what we discovered about WhatsApp. Everybody who is on WhatsApp sort of assumes that everybody else is on WhatsApp. Right. And this is why it caught my attention, because I'm not on WhatsApp for personal reasons. I don't use WhatsApp. But what I noticed was I got into meetings, I met people, and people would say things like, Tomi, don't worry, I'll WhatsApp you. And I could hear things like, Tomi, don't worry, I'll add you to the WhatsApp group. And I always had to be in this uncomfortable position of having to explain to them, you know what, I don't use WhatsApp. And everybody's shocked and thinking, why aren't you on WhatsApp? And I mean, sometimes I explain, sometimes I don't. But this was very, very interesting. WhatsApp was able to do something, which was create an impression where everybody was already on this platform, even though there were still some people who weren't on the platform, like myself, right? And then and if you look at what WhatsApp does, WhatsApp made exchanging messages extremely simple, even though we also had platforms like SMS, because to be honest, SMS already works. But WhatsApp created a superior experience for the exchange of SMSs between people, and people could just take it for granted that if I sent you a WhatsApp message, you were going to receive it. And to be honest, that triggered something in us. Now, why can't we build something where instead of the exchange being SMS, the exchange could be actual value, and in our case was money? I don't know if you get the point. And that's when this whole idea of Eyowo started. Now, some things that I really want to show. When we looked at this problem very closely, we noticed that if you look at the mobile telephony industry versus the banking industry, you see that despite the fact that banking had a huge and significant head start when you compare it to mobile telephony technology, the adoption rate when it comes to banking is way, 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 way much smaller than when you compare mobile telephony as an example. So for example, in 2017, it was reported that we had almost 100 million unique mobile subscribers versus about 30 million banking, people who had adopted banking as an example. Now, this was the problem. It means that if I had a bank account in Nigeria, I could only transfer money to just 30 million other people. And there was a huge number of people I couldn't transfer funds to. But then, if you think about it, if I have a phone, it means like I can call roughly about 100 million people instead. So we sort of felt, you know what, anything that we're going to build when it comes to banking sort of had to revolve around what everybody sort of had, which was the mobile phone. And that's how Eyowo came about. It was, how do we make the mobile phone the means of exchange of value between individuals? And that's Eyowo. So to define Eyowo simply, and this is how we define Eyowo. Eyowo is a platform where all you needed to use to exchange value with somebody else was just your mobile phone. And that was it. Now, for Eyowo to be successful, you needed to achieve 3 key things. And I'll share that with you, and then we'll go into the final bit of my presentation. The first thing is, Eyowo had to guarantee 100% that every time you did a transfer to a phone number, it was going to be delivered. Right now, if you look at how, if you look at transfers right now, the rates are still low in terms of success rates. I know banks are really struggling to improve that, but it's still very, very low. If you look at POS transactions and all of that, it's still very, very low. We said, you know, for this to be successful, we needed to guarantee 100% of the time that if you did a phone transfer, it was going to be delivered 100% of the time. And the second thing we said we were going to achieve was the fact that all you needed to do as a sender, all you needed to know as a sender about the recipient was his phone number. That was all. You needed not to know any other information about the recipient. Just his phone number was enough. And we learned that a lot from WhatsApp. And WhatsApp, all you needed to know was, since I was already on your contact list, it was very easy for you to send me a WhatsApp message. And typically, when we thought about it, if I was going to pay anybody, I already knew their phone number. It's very rare. There are cases where you don't necessarily know their phone number, but in most cases, if you're going to pay someone, you already knew their phone number. Why need to ask for something else from that user who you want to send money to? There's really no reason to ask for anything else when you already had your phone number. So that's the second thing. The sender needed to know nothing else apart from the phone number of the recipient to be able to send funds. Then the third thing which Eyowo had to deliver on was, once the money arrived at the recipient, it should be extremely, extremely seamless for that user to be able to get the funds. There shouldn't be any difficulty. Once you receive the funds, it should be extremely simple for you to access it and do whatever you wanted to do with the money. And to be honest, that's what we've done in Eyowo. If you look at, and how were we able to achieve that third option? Now, I hate to say this, and it's painful. And many of us read a lot. We would have seen that there was a time when, and it still happens now, where USSD has been sold to be the panacea of the unbanked. Right? That's the way it feels. But during our experiments, we found that wasn't necessarily the case. You know why? Because menu-based USSD sort of required that the user could read. Right? And many of the unbanked, from our own, what we've seen, cannot read. So therefore, the USSD becomes very cumbersome. Even though, yes, I agree with the proponents for USSD who say, you know what, I mean, even if you have a non-smartphone, you can use it. But then it also creates another problem because it means that you have to be literate. You have to be able to read it. And so we said, you know what, we're going to create as many avenues for our users to be able to access their funds. So some of the things we have that we've developed on Eyowo, one is the telephony service. What that means is this: you can pick up your phone and call a number and then have telephony banking. What that means is on the phone call, you can check what your balance is. You can do phone transfers. If you want to do bank transfers, you can do that. You can cash out at an ATM. You can do all of these things just on the phone call. And what that solves is this. And what we also do on the phone call services, we try to detect your language so that we can respond to you in your particular language. We don't support all languages yet, but we're actively trying to add as many languages as possible. We also do SMS banking. Right, for people who can send SMSs. We do SMS banking. We also support USSD, don't get me wrong. We also add USSD. We also support USSD. We have mobile apps for very elite users who, like the whole glamour of mobile apps and stuff. We also support that. We support web. But the point is this: we're constantly adding new channels and new avenues to make sure that accessing phones is extremely, extremely, extremely seamless. So these are some of the things that we've done. So where are we right now? We went into beta sometime in February. And we went into production in August, early August. And right now, to be honest, we've seen tremendous traction on this platform. Right now, we have over 2 million accounts on Eyowo. And we've processed over 2 million transactions also. And if you look at the value of these transactions, it's about getting close to about 15 billion in transactions over the past couple of months. So we've seen significant traction. I also want to focus on some specific use cases of this product that we've seen. Many of us are aware of the federal government scheme, which is Trader Money. It is a scheme by the federal government to give microloans to petty traders. And obviously, think about that. How do you scale such a massive program to deliver credit to micro traders? Many of them don't have bank accounts. That's one. Many of them are illiterate. And that's where the power of Eyowo, to be honest, really shone bright. It was the fact that, one, with just the phone numbers of the traders, the government could actually disburse loans at the click of a button to any trader once they had their phone number. That was one. And two, because of how seamless the service was in terms of being able to access the funds, these traders are able to access their funds through all the different channels that we have on the platform. So we recorded significant traction in that program with the government, which so for right now we've done about, we've disbursed loans to about 600,000 petty traders over the past couple of months. And like I said, many of them are able to access their funds. And we also plan to use the Eyowo platform to help the government with recollections. So in terms of getting funds into Eyowo, we've also tried to make that process very seamless. So for people who still deal with cash, maybe in the market and stuff, they can walk into any of our designated banks and deposit funds. We're also building our agency network across the country, which means you can approach any of the agents and also do a deposit with them. And if you need to put funds, you can also link your cards to Eyowo, and then you can move funds into Eyowo. So that's really what Eyowo is. I think I've gone above the time slot I have. I don't know if there are any specific questions. But before we get to that, I don't know if we've all received our funds on our phones.
Yes.
Fantastic. So, I mean, no, you haven't. Okay, so there's still a few people. Please just bear with us. You would all get the funds. But see, something that's very interesting is the fact that most of you had never probably known about this platform. And still, we could still get funds delivered to you. That's the power we see in what we're doing at Eyowo. So hopefully, during the end of the session, you can meet any of our experienced analysts. You can also meet Ibie, who's the product manager, and they can walk you through some of the things you could do with your funds on your phone. So thank you very much for listening to me. And hope I didn't speak too fast.